All right, welcome to the first FF underscore Spaceman patron video for 2021 season. What a night after Dallas and Tampa Bay squared off on Thursday Night Football. Just I had a great time tonight, but we're back. I know a lot of you have been stuck with me as patrons throughout the offseason. It was a slow offseason besides the NFL database and taking patron requests and podcasting. I've been really devoted towards getting the house ready and getting ready to be a dad and being a dad. So I just really have appreciated the support uh, for just podcasting, doing the charity podcasts, and doing the patron requests and creating the NFL database and the prospect database, maintaining those. Not as much regular analysis, not as many videos like this as I was hoping, but we're here. It's the start of the season. The NFL weekly database is up and running, and boy, am I excited about it. I think it's slick this year. Really like the layout. Really like the stuff I put in behind the scenes to make it easier for me to update and get it to you guys quicker, avoid more errors. Just really excited for that to get it out and get running up again. I'm sure I will regret saying that in 2 or 3 weeks when the grind hits. But anyway, tonight's video is 5 quick takeaways, uh, in, get out, and because it's 3:30 in the morning here after staying up all night working the database last night, need some rest. So, without any further ado, take one. Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb are going to be a force to reckon with this season for fantasy football and in the NFL. Had a lot of fun debating on Tail 2 rivals, guest spots, charity pods, over who's going to be the wide receiver one in that offense. Cooper definitely came out ahead week one, scoring almost at 38.9 PPR points, and CeeDee had 23.4 PPR points. But tonight was a big win for both wide receivers. Amari's 16 targets to Lamb's 15 gave them a 28% target share and 26% target share, respectively, with Amari just edging out Lamb. And this was improvement on for both players' target share output. Last season, Amari was at 22% for the season in 2020, and CeeDee was at 18% as a rookie. So 28 and 26%, definitely a nice increase. And I know Gallup went down with an injury in the second half, but if they can both hover or at least average maybe for the season, if they can be around that 25%, it's going to be a big season, especially if we have more high volume games, passing attack like we did tonight. And now I'm going to say this after every one of these takeaways, that tap the brakes. I know it's only one game, yada, yada, because I know there's extenuating circumstances with the Gallup injury, who caught 4 of 7 targets, but then went down the second half with an injury, and that Tampa Bay stout run defense really made it so Dallas could abandon the run and attack through the air. But like Dallas has a really weak schedule going forward, so they might run more and feed Zeke more and yada, yada, yada. But that being said, 25%, both over 25% target share is exhilarating. CeeDee came out strong, at least from a target standpoint, didn't convert as much, and then heat up from that standpoint. And Amari was a little bit quieter and then took off. And it was fun to see how Dallas swung back, where CeeDee was getting all the targets, then Amari heated up. It was just really. I love both players. Of higher consensus on than consensus on Amari in Dynasty, and real, top 5 for CeeDee. I forget. I think I'm wide receiver 3 or 4. If they hover around that 25% target, even if they drop down to 20% and it's a high volume offense, they both are going to return value. And even that, I know a lot of people are really hesitant about, being priced at his ceiling for CeeDee, but that will return, year 2, week 1, sophomore wide receiver for CeeDee to do that is exciting. So really glad to see that. Now take 2. Chris Godwin looked like a top 5 wide receiver. I was hoping he would be prior to the 2020 season. Now he dominated targets with a 30% target share on 14 targets, 9 receptions for 105 yards and a touchdown. I tweeted this out, but that fumble, the goal line was extremely rough, but on multiple levels, from a team level and almost blowing the game, but also from a fantasy point, it was like an eight point swing there when he didn't score that touchdown. Uh, but I'm telling you guys and ladies, 30% target share is where grown-ups go as far as wide receivers and being a difference maker in fantasy football. That's Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins level target where they are significantly impact week in, week out. They just provide a difference over the other wide receivers in fantasy with that kind of consistency. So now I understand Tampa Bay's a little bit different situation where tonight it might have been a Godwin night. IB 8-2. I think he might have actually scored more fancy points on less opportunity, higher receiving yards per team pass attempt for AB, but they both were over 2. But there's nights where AB is going to eat or Evans is going to eat, and Godwin might take a step back in that offense. But Godwin looked like he was healthy. His size, his athleticism, just a target hog. It was exciting. Now, I don't want to mislead anyone and think that I'm overreacting after 1 week, after everything I said. That's a weak Cowboys defense, and the Cowboys really pushed Tampa Bay to keep trying to stay ahead and pass the ball to Tom Brady. I don't think he's going to have 50 pass attempts every game. So definitely tap the brakes here. And all I'm saying is that it was good to see Godwin healthy. He's definitely looking like a value, and people who have him on their teams are excited. I have him in one spot. Really excited after week 1. And yeah, this is what Godwin believers were hoping for. Now, I don't think we should necessarily expect this all season, but knowing that he has this in his repertoire, he's looking healthy. This is exciting. Now, take 3. Excuse me. Tony Pollard had only 3. I know this is a Tony Pollard take. He only had 3 attempts for 14 yards and caught all 4 of his targets for another 29 yards. Not very exciting for Tony Pollard. But that being said, I felt like they schemed him the ball. It wasn't just him coming in to spell Zeke like it felt like at times last year when he was on the field. They did a couple of plays where they wanted to get the ball in Tony Pollard's hands specifically. And then his 35%, those touches, while still low volume overall, he had a 35% opportunity share this week of that Dallas offense. And remember, opportunity share for running backs is their running backs carries and targets divided by all of the non-QB rush attempts for the team and running back targets for the team. So 35% and I like that a lot because it gives a real clear picture of how many opportunities, the percentage of the opportunities that the running back has. It's very sticky from year to year. Really good stat. Catch my breath here. And he had 8.1 weighted opportunities, which it's a stat that weights targets more than carries because they're just more valuable in fantasy football. So 8.1 weight opportunities for Pollard. And now those don't seem very exciting on a face level, but Pollard averaged for his career in his first 2 seasons a 23.5% opportunity share, and then 6.2 weight opportunities per game. So definitely an increase in this week. Excuse me. And I know that's extenuating circumstances again. Dallas had to play catch up. That dynamite run stopping game, defensive line and defense front 7 for Tampa Bay definitely skewed for Tony Pollard. But on the other hand, if we flip this and say Zeke only had a 65% opportunity share or whatever it was, that's not good news for Zeke. Now, when Zeke was winning fantasy football leagues for people, he had over in year one, he had a 75, almost 75% opportunity share. And then after that, year two had two consecutive seasons over 85% of the opportunities in Dallas with that dynamite offensive line and all that stuff going forward. And then 2019, it took a step back to only 77% opportunity share. And then last year, significant dip to 63% opportunity share. Now, people were really hoping for Zeke to return to that form from a couple of years ago, as far as opportunities are concerned. Week one wasn't the case. Now, again, I'm not going to repeat myself here, but it's only been 1 week. You can explain why that happened, except in the past, Zeke was impervious to game script and these extending range circumstances with Tony Pollard there, and Dallas's what seems to be potentially a new mindset with trying to keep Zeke healthy and not overuse him. Could be troublesome for Zeke going forward. Now, I'm not ready to write him off by any means. Dallas has a weak schedule. He's going to score touchdowns. He's going to get plenty of games where he has a healthy opportunity share and some targets. So don't get me wrong here, but there's definitely a just word of caution for Zeke, and that a positive sign for Tony Pollard. Now, takeaway 4, Leonard Fournette, 7 targets, 15% target share in week 1 for Tampa Bay, and Leonard Fournette felt pretty inflated, honestly. And that's after Ronald Jones, it seems like every 3-4 weeks he's making a mistake that cost him playing time, but fumbled this week. And the real surprising thing is right after that fumble, Leonard Fournette drops the Tom Brady screen dump off pass where he could have run for significant yardage, and it was intercepted for Tom Brady's first interception of the game. That was rough, but they went back to him, and he got 7 targets, 15% target share for Leonard Fournette. Like I said, a little inflated, but any increase on last season's 3.8 targets per game and 9% target share, that's going to pay dividends for fantasy managers who targeted Fournette in this ambiguous backfield, which I did in a couple spots. So, interesting takeaway here. I understand that there's a lot of hot and cold in this Tampa Bay offense, but if this is what you're looking for to get a piece of this running game and this high volume or high scoring offense with Tom Brady, it's exciting, especially if it comes with more targets and weighted opportunities for Fournette here. But only one game, all the extenuating circumstances, yada, yada, yada. And that's most of my takeaways here. But I will close with saying I really enjoyed the game tonight. Just thoroughly. It was fun tilting on every target. Who's this going to CD? Is this going to Amari? Is this going to Godwin or Antonio Brown or Mike Evans, or who's in running back for Dallas and Tampa? And watching Tom Brady, my favorite player, unfortunately he's with Tampa Bay now, but it was just to watch him to continue to excel for such, and then seeing Gronk, who I love, dominate. It was just a great game. And then it was nice to just not listen to all the trash that's been going on in the fantasy community, it seems like, which can dominate a lot more drama than I can remember in years past. And it might has affected me a little bit more than in years past as well. But it was nice to just enjoy fantasy football, talk trash to my friends, banter with people about fantasy. And it felt like tonight I can't, I stayed up all night working on the database last night. I didn't go to bed until 5:30 last night. Then woke up at 9 o'clock to feed little Dave. So not a lot of sleep last night. It's 4:45 right now. But I'm out here giving some fancy analysis that doesn't feel manufactured. This is nice to have fresh content to just talk about how I feel, my reactions to the game with patrons who have been incredibly supportive of me. It's a good feeling. And also too, before I wrap up, I wanted to share just some improvements to the database and go through it for people who have made it this long in the video, just to give people a look at what's going on. So let's share a screen. Screen one. Let's see if this works today. All right, screen one. And this is what we got here. So week one looks a lot like it did last year. The whole database looks a lot. It's got the intro here. Uh, just, telling people what's what, make sure that people to make a copy so they can play with themselves. DM me if you see any mistakes or want to add a player. Explain what each tab does and some things that I added to the database. Now, what here? I just overall just a cleaner look, in my opinion. Moved opportunities to a different spot. Added EPA per play, which I'm excited about for quarterbacks. Another metric that's just advanced metric for passing that I still like completion percentage over expected more, but I'm excited to see what EPA per play does. And I like too that I more centered too around making sure people know where this data is coming from, citing these sources, and just cleaner look, more organized. And there's 200 extra players this year. I added 200 additional players that will hopefully streamline the process, make sure I get things out quicker and faster, more efficiently, especially now with the little one here. It was even an adventure to get the stats uploaded tonight in between a marathon feed tonight. So, and then besides that, I also added RotoViz stat. Expected points was expected fantasy points, which is historically based on down distance, where it is in the field, what a target, what a carry looks like based on historical averages, like for fantasy points, and what a play, how many points, fantasy points should you expect based on that opportunity. This year I added, so it breaks it down to passing expected points, rushing expected points, and receiving expected points. And what I really like about this, especially for running backs, is one, expected points is pretty sticky year to year, I believe, if I remember correctly, very effective at predicting itself and fantasy points as far as stats go. And what I really like about it too is that it just describes how running backs score their fantasy points really well, besides just targets and carries, because it also incorporates where it is in the field, goal line touches, all that stuff, and weights it appropriately. It does all the work for you. And two, it's going to illustrate to people just how valuable targets are, because if you're at meeting certain thresholds where you're like a 10 expected points rushing, 5 through the air, that really makes you really tough to be influenced much by game script, because you can catch the ball, you can rush the ball. Myles Gaskin essentially, and Chris McCaffrey is that 10 and 10 player that you hear Sean Siegel talk a lot about, where it's over 10 expected points rushing, 10 expected points receiving, and that's just the holy grail of running backs. So, and then what else we add here? We added top 5, top 12, top 24, and top 36 weeks. Now they look a little weird right now because I had to do a wonky formula to make it look 0 earlier until once stats are in. But at the end of the week, you'll see top 5, top 12, and top 24, and top 36 weeks. I think that'll just be effective. People to see how, just how they're scoring their points. Is it mostly on the boom weeks, or is it, how many consecutive consistently are they scoring the top? So that'd be just interesting little nugget there. And I think that's basically it. And then also too, the sortable database where you can filter on weeks. Now, obviously to start with, you only can do week 1, but this is just an incredibly valuable tool. And one, I think it's just nifty that we can calculate all these advanced metrics based on their splits, like splitting it like weeks 1 through 3 or weeks 3 through 6. And I just really like this tool, and it just functions as as a seasonal database too. So we've got weekly stats, so you can see how they do. Like if you want to go and look at every week performance, like week 1, week 2, week 3, and see it all in one place. That's where you get the week stats. You can get the most current stat or current week stuff in where it says the week, and then The season is where you'll also find um, the season is also where you'll find some of the advanced player profiler stats like let's see, like clean pocket percentage, deep ball completion percentage, slot rate, and those stats because I can't break those down. So that's why they're kind of split out. So that's where you can find those stats, and then yeah, the sortable stats that I just explained. So that's the database. Just thank you, everybody. If you see any mistakes, let me know. It takes a village to get this thing done. And I hope you enjoyed the 5 takeaways here. I am really energized and excited for the NFL season. I appreciate all your support. And yeah, uh, interesting week 1 Thursday night football. Thank you all. And hopefully you enjoy the database as we update it throughout as the week goes on. Good luck in all your fancy matchups.